Imagine walking into an airport expecting just another routine flight, only to find out that someone you love, someone who deserves the best, has been treated unfairly. And what if that someone was the mother of one of the most legendary athletes of all time? She didn't ask for special treatment. She didn't demand recognition. But what happened next? Well, it left the entire airport in stunned silence. A crisp winter sun bathed the airport terminal as Lucille O'Neill stood patiently at the check-in counter. She was in her early 70s, carrying herself with quiet grace, dressed in simple, well-pressed clothes. She never needed flashy jewelry or designer logos. Elegance, after all, wasn't about what you wore. It was about how you carried yourself. Her flight was in 2 hours. All she wanted was a little extra legroom for her aching knees. "Excuse me, ma'am. First class is reserved for premium passengers," the agent said curtly, barely glancing up. Lucille wasn't upset. She was used to life's little disappointments. She nodded politely. "I have a rewards account. Could I use my points?" The agent gave a dismissive shrug. "All seats are sold out." And just like that, she was already looking past Lucille to the next customer. The sting of the rejection was brief. Lucille had seen tougher days. With a quiet sigh, she stepped aside, found a seat near the boarding gate, and pulled out a book. But she wasn't alone. A few rows behind her, whispers began to spread. Some passengers recognized her. "Isn't that Shaquille O'Neal's mother?" A businessman named Mr. Thompson watched the scene unfold. He felt uneasy. He could tell this wasn't just about a seat upgrade. It was about the way she had been dismissed. Would they have treated her the same if they knew who she was? He considered stepping in, but something told him to wait, because in another part of the airport, someone else had just gotten word of what had happened. Shaquille O'Neal sat in a quiet airport lounge, unnoticed in a sweatshirt and baseball cap. He was planning a surprise. He was on the same flight as his mother, though she didn't know it yet. Then his phone buzzed. "Lucille's having trouble getting first class. Gate 17. Shaq's stomach tightened. His mother had raised him with love, with discipline, with unshakable support. And now she was being treated like just another nobody? Without a word, he stood up and made his way toward Gate 17. Heads turned as the towering figure walked through the terminal, his presence commanding, his pace steady. The closer he got, the more people whispered. The energy in the air shifted. And then he saw her, sitting alone, a book in her hands, unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. "Ma?" His voice was soft, but she recognized it instantly. Lucille's face lit up. "Shaquille, what are you doing here?" He knelt beside her, giving her a warm hug. "I wanted to surprise you." Then, in a quieter voice, "Heard you might have needed an upgrade." Lucille sighed. "It's not a big deal. They said first class was full." Shaq's jaw tightened. "Is that so?" The gate agent, suddenly realizing who was standing before her, turned pale. "Mr. O'Neill, we didn't know you were flying with us today." Shaq kept his voice calm. "I'd like my mother in first class." The agent hesitated. "I'm sorry, sir, but there are no available seats." The entire gate area fell into silence. People watched, phones recording discreetly. Lucille touched her son's arm. "Shaquille, please. It's fine. Let's just board." But Shaq wasn't moving. He scanned the crowd, the tension thick in the air. And then, a man in a suit stepped forward. "Miss O'Neill," he said firmly, "please take my seat." "It would be an honor." Lucille blinked, her eyes welling with emotion. "Oh, sir, I couldn't possibly." "You didn't ask," the man said with a warm smile. "I insist." A wave of murmurs and applause rippled through the crowd. The gate agent looked like she wanted to disappear, but before she could say anything, Shaq raised a hand. "It's fine," he said. "Let the man do his good deed." Lucille took the seat, gratitude shining in her eyes. The businessman took her economy seat without hesitation. As she settled in, the flight attendant approached her, nervous. "Mrs. O'Neill, on behalf of the airline, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. We didn't realize." Lucille placed a gentle hand on hers. "No need to apologize, dear. Let's just have a good flight." Shaq watched from across the aisle, his expression unreadable, but he wasn't done just yet. When the plane landed, Shaq pulled the manager aside. They spoke quietly. No one knew what was said, but there was a handshake, a silent agreement. Something had changed. As Lucille deplaned, a woman touched her arm. "You reminded me that humility goes both ways. For the famous and for regular folks like me." Lucille squeezed her hand. "That's all that matters." Shaq watched his mother walk ahead, her grace untouched. This had never been about a seat. It was about respect. And from that day forward, word spread. On that airline, passengers, famous or not, were treated with just a little more dignity. And now let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stepped up like the businessman? Would you have spoken up like Shaq? Or would you have simply watched? Let me know in the comments below, because this story, it's one you won't forget.